Hi everyone, very warm welcome to this session, and this is definitely sorry for the using the word session. This is definitely a different type of BIC announcement, and this is about something that I have been sort of thinking about and talking about with some people for some time, and really it's sort of getting momentum. More and more people seem to be interested in it, and therefore I thought I'd put it out there for the larger audience out there and see if there are others who might like to join us for a session on this Saturday, 5th of August, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Bangalore Investors Club. Now, you're wondering what this SoC session is, right? So I'm going to just have a few things that I'm going to put up into this. Uh, well, I hope it's going to be a short session. And what I want to talk about is maybe just start with this. And what this is and what SoC stands for is stream of consciousness. All right. So just in case you're already wondering what's going on here, don't worry. It's not going to be too exotic or offbeat. So first of all, this is not really going to be about the markets or investing or money for that matter. It is something which is much broader. And like I said, I've been feeling and noticing that there seems to be a lot wider interest than I had anticipated, and hence this short introduction. So what is stream of consciousness, right? Stream of consciousness is a term where you basically talk, and it's a literally style in which the thoughts, feelings, and reactions are depicted as a continuous flow uninterrupted by objective description or conventional dialogue, right? um, so maybe just a better answer to the what is stream of consciousness is an attempt to depict the multitudinous thoughts and feelings which pass through the mind. I'm sure we can relate to that particular uh, definition. All of us have a lot of thoughts about a lot of areas in life, about things, about people, about whatever, uh, and we are, or at least I am, these many times these thoughts are very disjoint, very separate, and don't seem to come together in any one holistic manner, right? And like that, just like I think everybody else, I've been talking about a whole series of things to various sets of people at BIC, in my TaiChi class, in my philosophy class, with some friends, and discussing some things with people on WhatsApp. And that's what prompted me the past few discussions, or rather many discussions over the last few months, have prompted me to just propose the session, which if you're interested in, I would love that you attend and join us for that. And let me start off by giving a little more details in the background, which is that this session was prompted, I think it came together as a catalyst because of one person. And that one person, for short now, I will just call him KK sir. Right? He is one of my teachers at the TaiChi class, and he knows what I do in terms of BIC markets and all. Came from one of my sessions also, and then really said, "This is not my cup of tea, and I don't want to really do anything." I mean, he's fine, and that's absolutely fine. And this was many months back. And then out of the blue, literally out of the blue, this was about 3-4 weeks back, he just said he wants to do something in investing, and he wants to learn about markets. What you need to know about KK sir is that he's dedicated his almost 35-40 years of his life to a very deep daily practice of martial arts, in spite of being an engineer, having running a business and all of that. And he's an amazing person in my view. Lots of respect to him. You, by the way, if nothing else, you really should come to see him in action. I mean, as in I'm not planning to ask him to kick anybody's butt, but if he agrees, maybe he will talk about a little bit of Tai Chi. And this is not a sales pitch for anything. Please hold on, right, before your thoughts run away. 1 second. So I'm doing this recording in a sense on the fly, no preparation, no script, and excuse me if there are any breaks or some interruptions that may happen. I hope you'll excuse me for that. So, like I was saying, he calls me out of the blue. He says he wants to do something, and I'm like, literally, I'm stunned because I was very clear that he was not going to, and it really got me thinking as to why he changed his mind. And I spoke to him, and I realized that something had shifted. And something, when I say shifted, something deeper. It's not like he really needs to do it, any of the courses at BIC, but something had shifted. And that got me curious, that got me talking to other people. And what I realized is that there seems to be this shift or wanting for people to know more about what is possible in their own life. And I'm saying this with all seriousness. This is nothing to do with reference to the markets, but somehow I've been privileged to meeting a lot of people in the last few months who want to expand their life, expand their experiences in many ways, whether it is wealth or health or travel or learn new things or try out things they have never tried out ever before in their life. And that's really been a fascinating opening up of life itself. I'm sorry if I'm sounding a little philosophical, it's not the point, but that's what's happening. And this got me to talk more and more with people I meet on a regular basis about other interests that I have. And I was surprised as to the level of interest that they had in turn, right? So, like I was saying, KK says what most 180-degree volt face turnaround to say, I want to do something. And by the way, just one more aside, that there is nothing that I do right now in BIC which is directly relevant to him. Direct stock market investing or trading course is not what he needs. It's not what he will do. I know that. I know the person hopefully well enough. What he needs is something else. What he probably will benefit from is something much broader, which brings me to a discussion on, let me just put it up, on financial planning, right? So what happened is suddenly I realized that financial planning and understanding the world of money is something that is probably what is the need of the, I wouldn't say of the hour, but need for this particular really nice person. And understanding the world of money and what is actually possible there from a much broader aspect rather than just stocks and shares or something like that. Which brings me to another set of interesting people whom I have been interacting with at BIC, etc., who have been talking about doing the financial planning course, right? So I'm sure some of you know about the financial planning course, and again, this is not a session to talk about the financial planning course or to ask you to register. But in the last several months, I'm really surprised as to suddenly there seems to be a sharp increase in the number of people who've been asking for this particular course, which I have not done for about, I think, 2, maybe 3 years now. Right, just was very busy on the financial markets, on trading, investing, etc. And suddenly there's this, list of people who are like, I want this. When are you doing it? And parallelly, along with financial planning course, is um uh, how shall I put this? A wider interest in what is money, right? What is money? What is wealth? uh, how does all these things come together? And I'm not talking about from let's make money now perspective. It's more of people who feel the need to understand what the broader universe of money is. How does it move? What happens when it moves? What happens at the back end when a transaction happens? And these people are like, it's mostly curiosity, but it's also a lot of wanting to understand how broader phenomena in the world of money impact their life. So, let me just talk about, say, macro concepts, right? So whether it is, what is the nature of money itself? How did it originate? How does it work today? What really is money? Which reminds me, we did a session with a bunch of kids last year, a fascinating session, and I'll talk about that on a separate occasion. And Oh yeah, okay. Since I talked about kids, some of these people want something that has to that can be make sense and available to their children and to their, maybe children as young as 8 years old is what some of these very interesting folks are asking for, saying, do you have a course for 8-year-old, 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds? And I'm like, really, really like, oops, what's going on here? I really have no idea. I've never done something like that. Course for kids and teenagers, right? Uh, just on another separate discussion, well, most adults also don't know the basics of money, and here we are talking about doing something for kids and teenagers. Now for that, it's a very different approach, right? It's a very, what do you teach? How do you teach kids, teenagers? What do you teach them? What is important? Do you want to, obviously talking about technical or fundamental analysis is not what the kids need. They need something else. Why are we spending so much time and effort just behind making a life which is all oriented about making money, but not having anything else, no time and no energy or health to really live our lives? It's a whole important debate which I think I can sense people seem to be engaging in. And all this got me thinking. So one of the ideas that came up, and I shared this with a few friends who seem to be very interested, is how many of us are perhaps interested in combining financial planning, right, with a wider discussion of macroeconomic ideas, etc. So when we say this, I'm talking about things like crude oil. I'm thinking about interest rates and how interest rates and inflation are, connected. I'm talking about purchasing power and why focusing on purchasing power and not the absolute amount of money you make is far more important. How all this connects to my life. What about the price of, crude oil, and how does that affect my price, my life rather? How does not only affect my life, but how does it affect the system, various components, and how does that in turn affect me, right? Things like taxation, okay, things like um, politics and money, right? Or even let's go back and talk about the history and the philosophy and the foundations of money. By the way, if anybody of you is interested, Ascent, you should Google for a series of documentaries called Ascent of Money, right? Amazing stuff in case you're interested in the background, how money came into this system. Maybe even talk about capitalism, right? And what is it, and why are we so enamored by it? Some of us are disillusioned by it, and we want a way out of that, and that's a separate discussion. So the whole idea was, are we interested in something which is like this? And a lot of us are perhaps now interested in the environment, right? Which brings me to an issue particularly on water, right? How many of us want to know more about it and perhaps do something about it and maybe contribute to making things better for ourselves and the future of our children, etc.? All these sort of things. So the idea out there was, how about creating a platform, a program, a series of sessions where maybe we meet once a week, or depending on curiosity, maybe twice a week, or whatever, to discuss not only a particular program like financial planning or investing or wealth creation, but also connect that with the wider concepts of wealth, of abundance, of philosophical and a practical approach to how this all affects my life, connect it to current affairs basically, right? And get basically hence a much deeper understanding of life's trends, okay? trends. I think that's the real thing I was looking for, right? Trends in the world, which are definitely going to affect me, right? So one of the things that we want to discuss this Saturday is this whole idea of combining financial planning for myself, my family, you and your family, with along with integrating this wider understanding of the money, or the world of money and wealth, and making it very practical, making it very realistic, trying to get a peek into the future, maybe even things like yes, let me add that here, um, robotics and artificial intelligence, which I'm sure some of us have been reading about or discussing and debating, and how jobs are being lost in automation, all these things. And these are, by the way, why I'm talking about all these are, I am personally fascinated, interested in these things, and I know that these things are affecting my life in ways that I do not perceive or understand right now. All right. This is not something which is any more 5, 10, 20, 30 years away. This is happening right now. One more thing, like I would like to maybe add, and some of you have heard me talk about it, is stem cell technology. Okay. Uh, there is things like, you know, uh, life enhancement medicine today. Fascinating stuff. I mean, sometimes I think I want to go back to medicine with what's happening in medicine. Life enhancement medicine. It's not curing or fixing a problem. It's about actually enhancing both quality and life. I don't know how many of you know that there are very serious ventures in the US going on about treating aging as a disease and not as a natural process. And what does that mean? And there is a lot of this happening in the background. We are so caught up in the races of just everyday living that we are completely blind to any and all of these factors. And do we want to discuss it, is basically my question. And please feel free to add your list to these things. The session on Saturday is just a brainstorming session. It is more a session to discuss ideas. I'm sure there'll be some people who will be talking about their own experiences, what they would like. And it's basically trying to get a set of very brilliant, very interesting, very diverse people to come and talk just from the heart, generously, without any expectation in terms of they want to get anything out of it. It's just for us to expand our understanding of what is possible in our own lives at a very practical level. That's the one thing I would like to really emphasize, the practical side of it, right? So this is one set of things that I want to sort of address, not of course in detail, but to bring up these ideas and see what their level of interest is, etc. I would also like to talk about a few other things, and one of the things connected to financial planning is abundance. And I would like to talk about abundance in a certain practical sense. So I'd like to just you know let a few folks know, or rather everyone know, that in the last 6 months I've been privileged to meet a few extremely interesting, talented people, and some of these people are taking or have taken radical steps in their life, as in they have left extremely lucrative jobs, very promising careers, no threat of automation to these guys. All right, they can go really very far in their life with the current jobs or careers that they have, but they have decided to actually make very radical departures from what they are doing. Some of them are taking on markets full time. Some of them, out of respect and privacy for now, I would not like to mention the names. If they are there at the SoC session on Saturday, you will meet them if they want to talk about themselves and talk about their experiences. Not that I'm putting any of these guys on a pedestal, definitely not. But what I want to acknowledge about these folks is that they are going after what their heart is telling them to do. They're going behind a deeper purpose. They have broken free from the mental chains of saying this is how life has to be or should be, something which we are all, I think, brainwashed by. They have left extremely lucrative paths, and there are a few others who are on the edge of doing that, still deciding whether they should not. And I'm fascinated by these people. I'm really in awe of these folks. And some of them I hope will be there for the SoC session. And why I want to talk about this is because all these folks basically did the EQNS program in January. That was the last in-person program we did. They've kept in tight contact with each other, and they have been doing some amazing things. Some of them are continuing in the process of acquiring more knowledge and doing some other courses. But the point is, these folks, like many others actually, have actually seen what abundance can be through the markets. I'm not saying markets are the only way, but abundance through the markets and how practical and feasible and realistic it is. All right. And they have taken radical steps. And which brings me to the thing that there are other people who are also considering these things. And I thought, okay, let's talk a little bit about that. Let's talk a little bit about uh, 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 what are these people doing? Why are they really going out of the way to make a very different life? What are their challenges? And maybe, again, not to ask other people to do it, that is definitely not the case, but if other people are considering it, maybe there are some lessons, some inspiration, some things that all of us can learn from these folks. And as a part of that, there will be some folks who have committed to come to the Saturday session who have never been in the financial markets, who've never been in the stock markets. And I know that they're coming from a different place. They're not coming to the stock market or to BIC to make money. They want to explore a different life, right? Again, my hats off to them. They have a feeling, a sense that the markets could be a path to that different life, could enable that different life. The market is not an end in itself. It's a path to that bigger goal that they're having, and they would like to talk about it. They'd like to get to know more. Maybe they'd like to meet other people who have made decisions that way. And therefore, we'll also talk a little bit about markets, also in terms of results. Okay, some of you may have seen some of the posts recently last week about profits and losses that were made. More and more folks are actually taking the plunge and moving on and putting real money on the line. In the last 2 weeks, I know at least 3 4 people who I don't know, I think in retrospect they will say either inspired or being foolish, and have actually started putting bigger money in the markets. And so far, both I think luck and uh, common sense and strategy and execution has been in their favor, and they have made some decent amount of money. And more and more people are taking the plunge. So what really is possible? I would like us to again get in touch with that, talk about it not just from a money perspective, but again abundance from how does it free up, what becomes possible, right? And what becomes possible is really the question for each person. Now, when I say each person, individually, it is up to you. What really do you want to be possible in your life, for yourself, for your family? Can we talk about it? I'll be happy to share things about myself. There are some paths that I'm seriously considering going forward, which I'm very likely to take because I'm getting more and more in touch with this actual practical abundance. Not from some, we've all read these books about the secret and the law of attraction and blah, blah, blah. All right, fine. It has its place. I'm not belittling that in any way, but practically going down that path is a very different thing. And what could it take emotionally, psychologically, socially, family wise, etc.? What are the things? And maybe we can talk about that. So these are things to maybe talk about, and these are some things that I would like to discuss as a group. I mean, I would like us to know that this session is not really about me. It's really about us and what each one has to say, ask, contribute to others, right? By just sharing their views and ideas and challenges and experiences. Which brings me to one more thing, right? In the last 3 months, right? I would say, okay, no, actually, this has been a whole 1 year process. There is something which has fundamentally altered for me in terms of food and agriculture. Okay. Now, in terms of food and agriculture, again, I've been talking to some folks about it. I'm going to keep this really short because I'll perhaps leave it to somebody else to talk about it more if they are willing. The sort of food we eat every day, I had this very thing that it's fine, it's all, it's what everybody does, but I have been forced. By very hard facts and some visits I have made, that the food I'm eating and I'm putting on my plate for myself and my family, and this is what everybody is doing, by the way, is downright not healthy for me, has poisons that we are not, intellectually aware about, but it's not hitting us deep down at a gut level. I did a few farm visits with a bunch of friends. Hopefully, all of them are going to be there on this Saturday session. Went to a few, one day web sessions, live sessions on farming, on growing your own food, on seeds and all. And what I heard there was like, really opening my mind to a very different reality out there, which I was completely unaware about, right? Which is that our food is basically, in some sense, a poison with all the pesticides and the uncontrolled use of pesticides, fertilizers, etc. On the other hand, some very happy news in terms of people who've been growing their own food, who've been doing it at their homes, in their balconies. And I've started doing that, by the way, on my own, in my very small way, in my own balcony, and talking about things like permaculture, okay, natural farming. I don't want to use the word organic farming. There's a lot of difference between natural and organic, unfortunately, okay, and stuff that we can all do, okay, and stuff that is not difficult to do, right? And I was talking about this, I was surprised, I was sharing the photographs, unfortunately I don't have them here right now, of a person, and her name is Viji. So she's a proper corporate person, who spent a lot of time in the last few years exploring alternative food sources, and she actually grows quite a lot of her own food in a very, very small plot of land that she has outside the house. And this is something that all of us can do, and it actually takes a hell of a lot less time and effort than we think it is. So that was another thing, can I do it? Is it practical? Is it convenient? And the point is, it is. And the reason I'm talking about this is because as I spoke about this, I'm surprised as to how many people are interested. 3 people have said, Musa, can you also come to my plot and maybe do something there? Can you do it for us? Can you do it for me? And I'll just give you the plot. And I'm like, wow, this is really, really surprising. The interest which is lying just below the surface is amazing, right? By varied set of people in saying, I want a healthier life, I want better, cleaner food for myself and my family. I mean, I'm really taken aback, honestly, by this. I'm surprised by this, and I would really request you, not you don't have to, but maybe if you are inclined, you could, just visit this link, right? I know you'll have to copy it. You can't copy it from here, or just search for No Dig with Charles Dowding on YouTube, right? So let me see if I can bring it up, right? Yeah, this is the guy, No Dig with Charles Dowding, all right? And just watch this video. It's 21 minutes. I just found it fascinating, right? Amazing. It was just fascinating for me. I will not spoil the fun for you in case you watch it, but please do watch it. And one of the things we would like to do on the Saturday session is talk about food, talk about, our own food, about growing our own food, about owning our food. I would like to really, really reiterate, it is much easier than you think, right? And I've been growing some palak, spinach, on my roof for some time, and it's a very different thing when it's cooked straight cut from the, plant, which has never been, we've not put pesticides or fertilizer in it, and put straight and cut and put fresh into the vessel and cooked. It's just a different flavor, and I'm thinking, why can't I do this every day? We did this with green chilies, tomatoes, and spinach so far, and now growing bhendi, ladies fingers, okra, and I would like to expand that project. And I'll talk about what we're trying to do to expand that project. Viji, the person I mentioned, is helping out. Godwin, another person who has taken the plunge into markets and farming and all that, or is wanting to get into farming, is helping out. Vinod is helping out, and so we are getting together and we are trying to see if we can do something, right? Fortunately, there's a small plot of land available, and you can also do this. That's my point, right? Even if you have just a balcony, you can do this. So I'd like to talk about it for anyone who's interested, and we'd like to see, what really becomes possible. So that's the other thing we want to talk about becoming more dependent on ourselves rather than depend on anything outside. And lastly, something that really wasn't on my agenda, but it really caught my attention, is this particular topic. All right. It is really sad, and you should look up this thing if you can. And it is about as a river dies, India could be facing its greatest human catastrophe ever, right? And this is actually about why is this picture not there? Sorry. This is about Cauvery, all right? This is about Cauvery and what is happening to Cauvery. And I'm really, a little bit this thing because this is right in our front yard. We are so, one second, I'm trying to get, why are we not getting this? Hold on. All right, I found what I was looking for, and I just want us to, look at this picture. Right, this is obviously some aerial view, and it says it's the Cauvery River and how it has completely dried up because of over exploitation, because of cutting of trees, because of urbanization, because of irrigation, and whatever we want to say. And I really believe, and this is getting to me, harder and harder way, that we are living in a ticking time bomb right now, right here in Bangalore, right? Uh, when this water runs out, which I think is going to happen, who knows, next year's, if not in the next summer, I think we might see a big, clash on this. What are you going to do, and what am I going to do when the taps run dry? We are like, yeah, as you know, Bangalore, there's hardly been any monsoon rain. It's really crazy. There's no rain, right? Are we really addressing the real issues of life here, or are we living in some, illusion in our AC offices and our AC cars in our malls, and sending our kids to school blissfully and coming home late at night and thinking that this is just going to be taken care of? Well, let me just also say that I'm not trying to save the world or anything like that. I'm just want to speak for myself, which is like, I'm really getting, it's playing more on my mind as to what am I really going to do when the tap runs dry in my house. All right, when the tankers are no longer available, when they're going to charge 3,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees, it's going to get there. One bad summer next year and your tanker could be 2,000, 3,000 rupees, right? It's already close to 800 to 900 in my area right now, Benson Town. Right? What are you doing going to do? What am I going to do? I mean, what's the point of living in these grand houses and cities and no water in it? And this, I think, is becoming a real issue. I'm wondering how many of us are taking it seriously. And I just wanted to bring this to our attention, to whoever is interested, and see if there is anything, not that I can do or you can do, but I just want to, open up a conversation on this at a practical level. What can I do? And let me just be clear about what I'm saying about what can I do. I'm not saying what can I do in terms of going and protesting, in terms of petitioning the government. Nothing is going to happen. Okay, I'm not talking about that. What can I do to, how shall I put this, secure my water needs for myself and my family? Is there anything I can do in the first place? And if there is, what are the choices? Maybe some of them are very stark, very radical, very different. Maybe they'll take drastic life changes and life decisions. I don't know, right? But this is something that is really playing on my mind, and I think it's going to hit me much faster than I think. It's going to hit us a lot faster than I think. And what I'm trying to see is there a way to integrate all this? So I've already spoken a lot. I really don't want to say much more. Already taken, I think, almost half an hour. And I'm trying to see, can we integrate all these issues and anything else, by the way, anything else that you would like to talk about, anything else that you think is important. Can we talk about it, and can we uh, um, start at least mentally preparing ourselves, and if possible practically preparing ourselves for it. Some of us probably have some practical ideas, solutions. Some of us are perhaps doing something on our own right now, and if they are, I would really love to hear what they're doing, and maybe I'll learn, and I'm going to try and put that into my own practice and my own agriculture and my own life, and see uh, what steps I can take, right? So this is broadly what I want to discuss, but I've given a very rough sketch. Please note that this is not a session on markets, okay, or stocks, right? It is more a session on practical, real issues of life here and now, right? When I say here and now, they will affect me, or rather us, in the next few months to maybe 2 to 3 years. That's all. I'm not even talking about, global warming or rise of sea levels, which will take another 10, 15 years. Not that it's not already happening, but this is going to hit us right now, right? What sort of jobs do you think our kids are going to have? How are we going to secure our future generations' lives? And what sort of resources will we need? I'm really wondering whether we will need to go back to nature in the sense of get closer and correct our lives. Now, here is how I see it. Am I going to wait for some massive ecological or social crisis in which a lot of people are going to get very, very badly burned and hurt and destroyed, and then we see a solution come out of that? Because I don't see any other way right now. Or at the very least, can I do something about it for myself and prepare? you know it's I'm not trying to sound alarmist here, but I am saying that I believe that these are real, very current issues that I am not paying enough attention to, and these are coming towards me, and I'll have to deal with them much faster than I think, right? So with that in mind, I'm just thinking about financial planning and money. Basically, whether it's a job or uh, running a business or markets, the idea is to create money, right? To create wealth which can be used for the other things in life, the important things in life. So that's where this whole discussion on financial planning, on the wider aspects, on the concepts is there. But at a practical level, what do we mean by that? How are we affected? How can we react to it? What steps can we take? In terms of abundance, really understanding that fine, all this may sound bleak, but is a lot still possible? I believe there is. There are some wonderful opportunities which are there in life, in the markets, and are we really, uh, how shall I say, connected to that, and are we taking advantage of this possibility, is what I'm wondering, and I want to talk about that. I want to talk about food and water in terms of very realistic things that are going to hit me in my life. Okay, whether it's you know trying to farm something, whether it's trying to get closer to nature, whether it's eating better food, more natural food, all these things. So I know I've rambled down too long, so I'm going to cut it short right now. So the session is from Saturday, 5th August, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Like, actually make that 9:30. Yeah, 9 a.m. is fine. We'll be starting with breakfast at BIC. We will organize lunch, and there will be a fee of 600 rupees per person, okay, to cover all the costs and arrangements and all of that. So please be aware. And this is going to just be a free for all open session for whoever is interested. Okay, it'll be moderated. Yes, we may see some videos, we may use the whiteboard, but it's not a classroom, it's not a lecture, it's not anything except for people with common interest to come together. We hope to finish by 6. Actually, I was actually thinking about finish between 10 and 12 or 10 and 1, but many of you know, who have come to a BAC session, how they are, and we get into some very interesting spaces and discussions, and we don't want to cut them short. And with discussing all this with many other people, I decided, okay, let's just have a much larger session. I will be requesting some resource folks like maybe KK sir and maybe other people to speak about their own lives, about their own passions, and about their own journeys, which would contribute to others in a meaningful way, and they can then take lessons in going down their own journeys. And so it's just there's no agenda, right? So maybe I should put that. If there is an agenda, this is the agenda. It's just to talk, okay? Or if there is, it is just to talk, right? That's all, right? That's something obviously I love doing. So it's just to talk. Whatever each one is going to take away is going to take away. We may have more sessions after this. We may not have any more sessions after this, depending on the feedback and response. I don't know. So I'm just putting it out there as an opportunity to get to know some amazing people at a deeper level. For each of the many of these people don't know each other, so that's my other objective, or talk about an agenda here, that I would like all these folks to meet each other, to know what each one is and who each one is and what each one is doing, because I really, really believe that there's a whole amazing opportunity of symbiosis, of collaboration, of a lot of giving and taking that could happen at a very, very healthy and a mutual level. Um, I would probably also, yes, since KK sir is there, I will also talk a little bit about TaiChi, right? And the amazing, amazing, amazing effects that it has had on me, which I never thought I would ever get when I joined 1.5 years back. So if there is interest, I will talk about it, and others who are on a journey of improving their health and outlook to life may also want to talk about that. Um, I'm going to try and get one more teacher on this if I can. I'm not sure if she's going to be free on that day, but her name is Meera, right? So I have two teachers in TaiChi. One is KK sir and one is the Meera ma'am. So I'll try and get both of them, and if they come, then hopefully we'll have some really exciting interactions. And because I didn't know anything about TaiChi, and I'm really keen that more people know about it. Each one, whether they take it up or not, is a different thing. And again, it's going to be driven by interest of the group. If there is interest, we'll talk about it. If there's no interest, we'll not talk about it, right? And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about chi, what it really is chi, and the amazing effects of chi. And I can personally relate to that today. We'll also talk maybe a little bit about philosophy. So that's another thing that I have been very deeply engaged in for the last about 2 years. As some of you know, I'm going for a class every week, once a week, to a place called New Acropolis. So you can check it out, and some folks from that group may also come. And it's going to be, just like I said, a lot of people with very diverse backgrounds are going to come together. Corporate guys, guys in some natural healing, talk in farming, in markets deeply, in programming and coding, in culture, in history, and all that. And let's see, where this goes, and how all these things like Tai Chi and philosophy have widened my understanding and my horizons of myself and a little bit about life, and how that has helped me change, contributed immensely to a different direction in life. And one last thing, as I am winding down, this whole thing about I have started uh, classes online, and that has really amazingly freed up a lot of time that was continuously blocked for a decade or more on weekends, right? And it has opened up things that I'm doing on weekends with amazing people, visiting amazing places, widening my horizons, and what that can do. So at the end of the day, when it's talking about abundance, I think it's about time, it's about health, and it's about money or wealth. All right, okay, let's put wealth. And if all this is not there, then really you can't follow your passion, you can't follow your dream. So this is, if there is something you want to talk about, then I think it is centered around these three themes. And I think what is also important is people, right? So all these three things, and how I'm sure all of this is of course common to all of us, and how all of us can have more of all four of these, and everything that you see around here, everything that you see surrounding this whole thing, right, is all contributing to a much richer availability of time, health, wealth, and people relationships for me. And I would really love it that more people are in touch with these things. And we are just going to share our journey on that. I would really look forward to any of you coming for this session. I have limited space at BIC, as you know. So if you're coming, please, confirm. Right? Please confirm early. Uh, I think we can not have more than 30 people at tops because of space and food arrangements and all these things. About 10-12 people have already committed and said they will be there, so there is space for another 18 to 20 people tops. So if you're coming, please let me know. Give me a call. You know my number, 93496757 and we'll see you on Saturday, 5th August, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. at BIC. And if there are any questions or any doubts, any queries, any suggestions, maybe there's something you would like to come and talk about or suggest or contribute, I would love to know. And if this goes well, we hopefully will have more sessions along the way and meet even more amazing people and have even more amazing experiences, right? So with that, I'm closing this. I think for the first time, we're putting out something like this, very different. So I look forward to hearing your stream of consciousness, right? I look forward to hearing what is that drives you, what is it that you're passionate about, and who knows who in this group in this on Saturday would make a difference to that, and you would make a difference to other people in a very real, meaningful manner. So this is hopefully first of many SoC sessions that I would like to organize or we could organize together, and let's see. Right. So thank you very much. I would love to hear from you. Please do give us your feedback on what you think about this. There's nothing of this on BIC's website. Please note, in case you are sharing this with any family and friends, you are welcome to do that. But please set appropriate expectations for them. All right. There is no timeline as such. We'll just go with the free flow. There is no breakup of we'll talk about this in the morning, this in the afternoon, this in the evening. There's nothing like that. We're just going to go with the flow. Okay, that's the whole idea of a stream of consciousness session, and it's going to be very interactive and very collaborative, right? Um, um, Let me put it this way: much richer than something like a TED session, perhaps, right, or a mini TED session where you break out into groups and really come together. So that's it, right? Thank you. See you on Saturday, and I hope to get a lot of phone calls with any questions and confirmations, right? If there are more people, I'm sorry, I will have to block it off and tell people that we are closed. So if you're interested, please let us know early enough, right? Thank you and have a great week. Bye.